8th of March is International Women's Day. So I thought we'd have a little bit of a chat on that. We're an all-female team today to get this video out. So we know that from the Bar Standards Board, they released numbers that said that over the recent years, there's been, of the self-identified women, there's been a higher number of them than the men coming to the bar in recent years. But then if we look at the overall makeup, it's roughly stayed the same, around 34-35%. I was really curious as to get your opinion on why you think that is, why we've seen an upward trajectory of the women coming to the bar recently.
I think it's a really important question, and I suspect it's one that individuals and chambers are asking themselves. It's really important to distinguish, first of all, between those who are called to the bar and those who enter into self-employed practice. Now, those who are called to the bar have done the bar course. They've got a qualifying law degree. They may well intend to become a self-employed barrister, or they may not. They may intend to use that qualification to do something different. Their career may have already taken a slightly different path, or they may be interested in pursuing a career at the employed bar. So when you look at the two sets of statistics, first of all, it's really important to break it down in that way so you can think, actually, what are we looking at here? Now, my experience is solely as a self-employed barrister, and there are far more self-employed barristers than any other type of barrister. So that's the most common sort of barrister that you might meet or might talk to about this particular subject. And the statistics that the Bar Council released recently about incomes, self-employed fee income, at the fee earnings at the bar, show that at the moment, of self-employed barristers in practice, women are in the minority. And that varies quite widely between practice areas. Family law is the only field of practice in which the women outnumber the men. There are over 60% of family barristers are female. And then there's a real range. I think it goes down all the way to, in chancery and commercial law, barristers are about 25% female. So we've got a huge difference across the different areas of practice. And I think it's really important to acknowledge that, because there may well be different factors in play in all of those different areas. And that's why we all have to take responsibility, really, for looking at both our own individual path, our path within chambers, and then the collective as a whole as well. I think there are a number of reasons why women in the past have been in a minority, but I do think there are a number of really exciting changes now that are happening that make it much more likely that women are going to be attracted to a career at the bar. It's not really that long ago that women started to become barristers. You look back, there aren't that many women compared to men who are silks. So if you look at role models and what students and young people are seeing, it hasn't always been the case that there have been a huge number of female role models. Now, that has changed. We do have far more female role models. If you think back to Brexit and all of the litigation around that, and the role that Baroness Hale played, and she was being nicknamed on social media the Beyoncé of the law. And all of a sudden, there was a real interest in what she had to say about things. And it's really helpful for young women who are considering whether or not this is a career option for them to be able to see it, to be able to see someone doing it and see that perhaps the glass ceilings that they have in mind and the questions that they're asking themselves about what they can achieve and whether they're going to face obstacles that they perhaps don't want to have to confront or shouldn't need to. It's really important to be able to see those people who've gone beyond them so that you have something that you can aim for. I think there is a difference now in the way that we talk about women at the bar. So when I did the bar course, I was told in a lecture with everybody else, in no uncertain terms, you cannot wear nail polish to court. Women do not wear nail polish. And again, there are good reasons why that advice is being given at the time. But as the person sitting in that lecture theatre, you might be asking yourself, well, I paint my nails. Do I need to change who I am to fit in with this career? And to fit in with everybody else who's there. And what else might I need to change about myself? Nail painting sounds quite basic, but actually, if you're thinking about what makes you feel like yourself and how you identify as a person, being told to change that, or this might have an impact on your career, or this might have an impact on the way that other people think about you, is really fundamental. And I like to think, I sit here with painted nails, that actually there's a different attitude now. And actually, when I was called to the bar, nail polish might have been the thing of the day. It wasn't that long before that women couldn't wear trousers to court. And it wasn't that long before that women weren't really seen at the bar at all. So there's been a huge amount of progress. And I hope that the way that 21-year-old, 22-year-old women are being spoken to about what their career could look like is much more about what they bring to the table than what they might need to change about themselves in order to fit in. And I hope that that will ultimately result in more women, more students thinking, I can see myself doing that job, because that's so important. I think the other important aspect of making sure that there are more women at the bar, and importantly, more women who stay at the bar, because it's all very well having the statistics about women coming to the bar. We need to keep them there. And at the moment, the statistics about retention are quite worrying, and the statistics about the number of female silks compared to male silks are quite worrying. There's work to be done there. And what we do see in chambers, and what we see people talking about more, are specific ways that we can support women at the bar. Now, when I was looking at which chambers I might want to join and where I was going to apply to for pupillage, one of the questions that I knew I needed to ask was, is this a chambers that has a flat rate rent policy? Or do you charge your members solely based on a percentage of what they earn? Now, the reason for asking that question of every single chambers is to work out how likely they are to support different ways of working and to support women during maternity leave or parental leave. And it goes both ways. If you want to take time out of work, or you are hoping that that's going to be in your future, you need to know that you can afford to do it. And so I had to work out whether I would be charged to remain a member of chambers for all that time I was away and not earning, or whether I was going to simply pay a percentage of what income I received. Now, not only are there now very open conversations about the potential implications of discriminatory policies on women or those who want to work part-time or those who want to take parental leave, whether they're male or female, those with caring responsibilities and those with disabilities, and how certain policies might be discriminatory. But actually, chambers are starting to go further than that. And we see chambers devising parental leave policies. And we have chambers, and I include my own in this, talking about fertility and menopause, and how we can make sure that the policies we have in place really support women to stay at the bar. And those can be really fundamental policies, or they can be steps that are much smaller. It can be, we are going to have a written policy that tells every member of chambers, whether male or female, that if you are going to embark on fertility treatment, you can ask your clerks to have a meeting about it. And you can discuss it. And it's going to be written down. So everybody who comes here is going to know, as soon as you start to think about that, and you're starting to think about what impact it might have on your practice, you can have that meeting. That can be the first step. And you can talk about what your needs are likely to be to your clerks. Having those sorts of policies in place and being able to talk about them makes the bar much more attractive to people who see that as possibly being something that might be in their future. Because particularly with something like the bar, where you're making a significant investment, both financially in terms of your time, you have to know that you're going to be able to have a career that's going to last. You're investing in yourself for the long term, not just for something that's going to be for a short period of time. So having all of those policies is one way to show young women who are coming to the bar that there is longevity here. You can come and you can stay and you will be supported. That hasn't always been the case. And I hope that those sorts of things are part of what is going to mean that there are more female barristers in future.
That's fabulous. It's really heartwarming to hear, to be honest. It sounds like they're really leading with transparency, and that transparency directly impacts and benefits women. So it's really, like I said, heartwarming to hear that it's moving in that direction. That was absolutely fantastic. You covered so much, I loved it. I was going to ask, sort of on International Women's Day, is there a message that you'd like to convey, really? I know that you're contacted by a lot of people who are aspiring barristers. Is there anything that you would like to convey specifically in support of International Women's Day?
I think in support of International Women's Day, what I would want to say to anybody who identifies as female is simply, you belong. You belong here.
That's brilliant. I don't think anyone could say it better. That was brilliant. That was absolutely lovely.